But first, what has Anthony Albanese done to us? The Prime Minister told us that this will unite us. Instead, look around. It's just created more tension and division and hatred, a lynch mob mentality sometimes. More than I've seen in years, and most of it from the left. In fact, I read this letter in the Sydney Morning Herald today from a puzzled reader who said, I find it incredible I'm yet to see a no badge, a no protest march, or a prominent person or company or sporting body, etc., rallying behind a no result. Yet the no vote is supposedly leading by a country mile. How does that work? Very good question. Well, that's because a no supporter is more likely to be attacked or abused by someone in the Yes campaign than the other way around. I mean, it's true. If you walk into a supermarket, would you dare wear a no shirt? Yesterday we saw that yet again when people tried to get into Adelaide's Convention Centre to hear Senator Jacinta Price, a leader of the No campaign, a new political superstar, give a speech. But listen to the abuse those people got from the protesters outside. Senator Alex Antic filmed more of the same.
This is your Australia. Thank you, Labor government. Thanks for the unity.
I'm sure you find it as amazing as I do. This savagery from protesters who are actually claiming to be more tolerant and more compassionate. This hatred from people claiming to love. I mean, just look at the face of one of those protesters. Does it really strike you that that is the face of reconciliation? Or does it look instead like someone in love with hate? Now, I hear the excuses today. I've heard it many times. Oh, it's just a small group of protesters, quite small. And look, the Prime Minister told them off. Well, very briefly and indirectly.
Well, I condemn nasty behaviour wherever it occurs.
Now, it is true that there are nasty people on both sides of this debate. It's true. But it is also just as true that the loudest abuse is from the left. For instance, have you seen any no protests as savage as the yes one I just showed you? And more telling is who is doing the abusing. You're always going to get some anonymous trolls in the darker parts of the internet, anonymous always, they'll be abusing people, left, right, whatever. That's what they do. But we're actually seeing abuse from Yes campaign leaders or office holders. That's something else again. For instance, you take this racist attack on Senator Price, calling her a coconut that's brown on the outside, white in the in, as if all Aborigines should, of course, be for the voice and only a race traitor is not. Now, that particular racist abuse was posted by this woman, Amy Rust, who identifies as Aboriginal and is head of communications for Victoria's version of The Voice, Victoria's first People's Assembly. You should watch that outfit closely. That's a real warning. She also used to work for Prime Minister Julia Gillard. Then there was this Yes supporter who allegedly abused staff at the office of Liberal MP Tony Passon and threw leaflets around. Again, question, which Labor MP have you seen have their office trashed by a no voter? Seems to be the other way around. Again, I know there are faults on both sides. There was a no campaigner, for instance, who posted something about the skin colour of Stan Grant. That was poor form, absolutely. And I don't think anyone defended it. But there is a reason why no supporters do tend not to say publicly that they're a no voter. And there is a reason why so many Yes campaigners get in your face. Even when you're just calmly sitting down, paid your money, got your choc top and you want to watch Moulin Rouge in Melbourne. Up pops the director on the stage telling you to vote yes. Or you're watching Death of a Salesman, the play. And there in your program is a little note from the director telling you for the sake of the country, vote yes. The impertinence of it. And it is relentless. And I just wonder, don't these yes people realise that this bullying, from the abuse to the lecturing, the finger wagging from showbiz types and businessmen, that has now become one more big reason to vote no. A big reason. You can see it in the polls. No to bullying. No to lectures from people abusing their positions to lecture to the lower classes about how they should vote. Now, I know yes supporters don't like to hear all this. They like to think that they're the victims. But I ask them again, why do you think that no voters don't put up signs outside their homes saying vote no? Ask yourself why we see so many yes signs everywhere, even on Stobie polls in Adelaide. Where's the council? And why? Why do we see these things when the polls actually show Australians are no voters by a margin of nearly 2-1? It's because it's the left again, in love with power, in love with an excuse to abuse the lesser folk, in love with advertising their own supposed virtue, in love with treating the hoi polloi as just racists and fools, the dupes of evil string pullers.
Every time the no case raises one of their arguments, if you start pulling it apart, you get down to base racism. I'm sorry to say it, but that's where it lands. Or just sheer stupidity.
Marshall Langton, of course, architect of The Voice. Look, here's a consolation. The bullies may be out in the streets today, but when it comes to voting day, October 14, the meek will have their say and let the bullies then weep.